The right arm only drill. I did this drill so much when I started changing my swing that I gave myself tendonitis in my right arm and I had to take a couple of months out. But I loved doing it so much because I'd spent so long trying not to use my right arm and not to use my right side and pulling the club at the ball, pulling the handle into the golf ball first. You know, trying to stop hooking it, trying to prevent the release of the golf club. And when I was shown that I could release my right side and use it as much as I possibly could without fear of having the ball go left, then I just did this drill till my hands bled. It was so much fun to fire the club through there as much as I possibly could and see the ball just rip down the line every time. So if you have spent a while pulling the handle of the golf club, if you have spent a while pulling the handle at the golf club, then you're going to need to re-educate your right side and kind of beef it up so that your right side knows what it's trying to do with the golf club. And the more right side you put in there, then hopefully the more your left arm is going to calm down and stop pulling. When I first did it, I spent a few days topping the ball and rolling it along the ground, and I've given it to some guys who think they're really good players, and they either hit it 6 inches behind the ball and lay the sod over it, or they just cannot get it up in the air. So it's going to do a lot for you as far as figuring out how to coordinate the motion of your body and the unhinging of your right arm so that you can hit down and through it towards your target. So you can hit golf balls with this drill. You know, I'd start off with them on a tee, just a small, not teed up too high, but just get it off the ground a little bit so you can focus on the motion and not worry about getting the ball up in the air to begin with, and then get it down on the ground later on and see if you can fly it from the ground. Do it with a club like a 7, 8 or a 9 iron wedge, something like that. And it's not about how far it goes, just take it nice and easy. Feel sort of a 3/4 back and 3/4 through motion. I do this motion a lot without a club. And if we take a look at that first, without the distraction of the club, I do it all the time. I mean, I do it in the mall, I do it in the pro shop, when I'm standing around. I am always doing this. It's just constantly rehearsing and reminding my body what I want my right side to do. Initiate things with your legs and your center moving sideways, and have your right arm hinge up. And then from there, it's like you're going to just explode from your right leg, as if you were trying to smash down a post in front of you, or if you imagine that you're going to slap a cart seat and drive that cart in the direction of your target. So it's a dynamic winding into your leg and then straightening out your right arm and exploding your whole right side. And you'll notice to return your right hand back to the place it started, right on that post, straight up and down, flat. Your right side has to remain high and level, and everything in you driving forward to the moment of impact. When you impact that cart seat or the post, your chest would be facing the cart itself or the post, your weight's off your right foot, your right arm straightened out to get back to the point of impact, or back to the point that it started. If you drop underneath it, which is what so many people are trying to do, and your weight would fall back, you'd end up coming into it with the side of your hand or the heel of your hand.
I'm doing a chop.
Yeah.
I'm doing that, I'm hitting it square.
You're squaring up.
Yeah.
and your palm would be facing up rather than the palm of your hand going from facing us, facing the camera as we're looking at it right now, to then to where you can't see the palm of your hand. That's squaring up. That's slapping the post or slapping the cart seat right there. And then all your energy from that moment of impact is going to continue forward and drive that cart backwards, and everything driving through towards your finish. In the finish, you want to end up with all your weight on the ball of your foot. Your hips are nice and level. Spine's level. Your spine straight up and down. And you want your whole right side stretching through, so there's pressure kind of coming off your right leg. Notice how you can still see my back. That means everything's unwound fully through towards the target. The right arm itself hinges as you're going back, finding about a 90-degree angle at the top of the backswing, and then on the way forward it straightens out towards the ball or towards the post or towards the golf cart. And then driving forward, the right arm will be at its longest, about waist high, pointing towards the target. And then continues to hinge up and fold up over the left shoulder. So combining that with the body motion, as the body's winding up, the right arm's hinging, and then as the body's unwinding, the right arm's unhinging and straightening out, and then hinging up again through to the finish. A couple of things I see all the time when I give someone this drill is that, one, they let their right arm fly away from their body on the way back, and they keep it very stiff and very straight. You got to let that thing hinge and keep your elbow kind of below or even with your shoulders. So don't let your right elbow get up above your shoulder, either going back or through the ball. This will help kind of keep things together, keep your arm kind of being controlled by big muscles in your whole right shoulder unit, your pec, your lats, all together working as one unit. Just like that, those hitting motions we talked about, just like the quarterback throwing a football. Your arm does stuff, but it doesn't do anything independently of that whole shoulder motion. Your whole shoulder and your legs are what's controlling the movement of your arm. So if you are having trouble with your arm flying away, I don't recommend you do too much of this, but every now and then stick a glove under your right arm and make the motion and figure out what it is for them to work together. But don't do this too much, because the last thing you want to do is trap your right arm and trap your right side on your body. The right arm should come away from the body to get into a strong hitting position on the way back. Alright, looking at this with a golf club. The club's in a good position there up at the top. We can see the whole of the club face, hands underneath the club. Now from there, you have got to throw the club head away from you so that it can come back down the same way it went up. This returns the handle to the center of your body, just like the club and center drill. And as it's coming down, you should feel like the club face starts to close early and starts to point to the ground. And your right arm straightening out and forcing that club down to the ground. You should feel some pressure of the grip against your right hand as soon as you start driving forward, and you want to keep that pressure up the whole way through. As soon as you pull the handle of the club at the ball, you're going to lose that pressure in your right hand. I see a lot of scooping and flipping when it comes to doing this drill to try and get the ball up in the air. And the answer isn't to hold the handle ahead of the golf ball, which is what a lot of people might tell you to do or to think. The answer is in kind of having a firm right wrist and keeping that unit together right there. And then as you come forward, unhinge your right arm straight to the ground like a hammer and keep your right side moving forward through the ball so you can hit down and through the ball and move forward at the same time. If your body stays back in an effort to get the ball up into the air, the club's going to keep going and you're going to flip at it and swing up at it. Drive forward, hit down, and keep your wrist relatively in the same position that it started at. The only thing that should be hinging is your right elbow. A good thought is to hang on to that club, do your setup, and then imagine that there's a plaster cast wrapping the club, your right hand, and your right wrist all together, and that you cannot change any of those angles in your wrist at all. And moving back and through, the only thing that can hinge is your right elbow.